Welcome to this week's edition of Short and Sweet. Firstly, we want to thank everyone for tuning in last week to our first live session with Stephanie Howe. If you didn't see that, it's available on YouTube. Go and take a watch. It's really worth having a good look at. Lots and lots of really great examples on there of how you can provide meaningful feedback for students during online learning. But today we thought we'd do something a little bit different. So Ben and I are going to be taking a look at a fantastic platform called WeVideo. And this is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm not a video expert by any stretch of the imagination, but WeVideo is so accessible that even I've been able to learn how to use it really quickly, really easily, and create some really quite professional looking videos using things like green screens and special effects. So we wanted to share that with you, and this is the first part of a 2-week series all about WeVideo. So over to Ben, who's going to take you through getting started.
Cheers Darren, thanks for that. So now you're in your editor, we're going to look at the stock media and my media pages. So that's where all of your content is going to be stored. Now, WeVideo has a great selection of stock media available to us. If you're on a standard account, you only have access to some of those features. There's a lot that are premium only. But if you register through your school email address, you will have access to get the premium features as well. So well worth doing. And as I say, you can get lots of people from your domain all on there as well, which is really good. Now, once you're in your editor like I am here, you'll notice at the top I have stock media, my media, text, audio, transitions, and background. So they're the sort of the main breakup points of the editor. So I'm going to be going through the text and transitions later, but for now we're going to look at stock media. So if you click on the stock media page there, now it will always give you a random, something to search for, something that's going to pull up on the screen here. So today's one is National Park. Okay. Now you can see there's lots of video clips, and the way to identify those video clips is to see you in the top right hand corner you have the seconds of how long that clip is. You also have the option to favourite those if you want to keep them for later on. Okay. Now if you scroll slightly further down, a bit further than that, there'll be some photos you can use as well. And it's not just of the landscape or the thing that you're searching for. There's some background options as well. You've got people in there. And the best bit about it is they're all free to use. There's no copyright issues with any of these either. So it's great. Now, when you find something you like, maybe I really like the look of this view here. All I'm going to do is left click and drag it straight down into my video 1 or video 2 track. Now these are called tracks down here. They are where we put our media into. So you can see I've now loaded that in, and I can view it by clicking the spacebar to watch. Now you can also look at the footage by clicking on the particular thing you like here. Just by clicking on it, it just plays automatically. So I can decide I want to have a look at this one before I put it into my project. I can say, yeah, I really like that actually. I'm going to put that into my project again by clicking and dragging in. Oh, didn't work there. Click and drag in. There you go. Okay. Now you'll see at the moment it's going to look a bit cut and paste. We're going to go through transitions later, but I can end one clip and it goes straight into one another like that. So it's really, it's quite nice, and we're going to look at how to tidy that up just in a short while. So now I've got some tracks or some content from the stock media inside my video. Now I could also search using the search bar at the top here. So I could maybe look at a beach, because that's where I wish I was right now. So I'll click beach and click enter, that would help. And I can see again, I have lots of different things on here, and just by clicking on them, I can preview them before I put them into my video. So the great thing about this is it just adds a nice professional touch to your video. It just makes it look really clean and smart. Now, again, I could find something I like, just drag it directly in. Now, I hear you say, why is there 2 video tracks, not just one? Well, the great thing is I could overlap. So instead of cutting things, I could say I only want to show part of this video and then go straight into the beach. Or I could use it to have 2 photos up at the same time and crop them down so they fit on the screen. There's lots of different ways you can do it. We'll do that in a later video. You can also add further video tracks if you want to, and further audio tracks by clicking the plus icon just down here on the left. And you have the option whether you want it to be a video or audio channel track, and you have the option to rename it there as well. Now, we're going to move on to My Media. So My Media is the page where you upload from your own computer or something you've got in an external platform somewhere you want to bring into WeVideo. You can do that as well. So by clicking My Media, you'll see I have some of my own media in here at the moment. And you've also got the option here to import, record, or narrate. So let's look at import to start with. So if we click on the import media, you can drag and drop media here if you've got it open and ready to go in. Alternatively, you can click browse to select and it opens up your computer downloads folder, or opens up so you can select anything from your computer. You also got the option to upload from Google Drive, from Box, Dropbox, and OneDrive. So you can see there's a range of different ways that you can import data to this. Now, you can also, one of the new features that WeVideo just introduced is you can record yourself through here. So it effectively acts like a screen recorder. So you can click record on there. And you have the option for webcam. So you just have this little box where I am now on the screen. You have the option to record just your screen without me and without you in the picture. Or you have the option to do both. And that will feed directly into this page here. As soon as you finish recording, it will load up in this My Media page here, which is great. You also have the option to narrate. Now with narrating, maybe you've got a video of something off YouTube or something that you'd like to show your students, but the vocab's a little bit iffy, something they wouldn't understand. No problem, you can mute that particular video and talk over it yourself by clicking narrate. Then you can play the video in the background and click your microphone and just talk away. You can say, this is a forest that I really like, beautiful views, and I really like this beach as well, so I put them in the same video. When you're done, click that little stop button and confirm tick. And you'll see now that loads directly into my media page. So give it just a second. There we go. So you can see now it's labelled up here. So audio tracks are always labelled, well, you can see an audio track straight off because it's got the waves, the sound waves to show it's a soundtrack. Okay, now that's also preloaded into my video here and it's labelled as voiceover 1. But what if I don't want that in there anymore? What if I decide I don't like it? I can just simply click on that and click the delete or the bin icon. Quite easily get rid of it. It doesn't get rid of it from my media page. So I'd have to right click on that. I have the option to rename as well, which might be useful actually. And you can also delete it from here. But a good way of organising your data or your content is by having folders like I've got here. So you could right click and create a folder and name whatever you want to. So I'm just going to do demo. Click OK, and you'll see it load up here. Now I can't just drag that in. It doesn't let me drag in. But I found a way to make sure we can organise it after we've imported data. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. But what I'd recommend doing is creating your folder, clicking on the folder, and then importing your data directly into that folder itself, rather than importing it into the My Media tab and then moving it to the folder, because it is a slow process. You can only do one at a time. Just create your folder first, import everything inside the folder like this. Okay, but if you've got this content like I've got here now, and I haven't put it into a folder, I made a mistake, forgot to do it, don't stress, you can still move it. You need to click the media tab at the top here. So by clicking on that, you open up a new page which looks like this. Now you can move files across from here into folders. So I'm just going to click on this track that I recorded just a minute ago. Just left click and you'll see a tick appear. And then you can also, you can right click on there, and click move. By clicking move, you'll see all your folders now appear. So I'm going to see demo and I'm just going to click move. And I can also create subfolders from that particular page as well. Now, you've also got some more options at the top here. So I'm just going to click on this file here. And you can see I've got move. I could click move up here. I could share to a particular project, could rename or bin. Okay, so that's just showing you how you can move things around between folders to keep everything organized. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you on the My Media tab. So let me just go back to my video again. One thing that's really good for me. So you can see I've got mine laid out in a grid view. Grid view is my favorite. I'm team grid view. But if you don't like grid view, you can change that by coming up here and clicking on these 3 lines. And you can get line or list view, which I know a lot of people like as well, but we are superior because we use grid view. So that's another great way of just looking at how to organize things and make things appear better on your screen. Back over to you, Darren. I'll let you take the next part, and I'll see you again shortly.
Thanks, Ben. So now we know how to use the stock media library, and we can bring in some of our own images and things like that. What I wanted to show you next was how we can go about building a track. Okay. Now we've got 3 options on WeVideo here. We can create a video, we can create a recording, or we can create a GIF. So what we're going to do is go to create a video. So we're just going to click create new. I can choose any of the folders I want this to go in. I'm going to put it in short and sweet, and it gives me the option to start editing. And you'll see straight away that we've got an audio track here, video 1, video 2. So that's our starting point by default. Now, the first thing to be aware of is that there's a small drop down arrow next to each one, which gives you the option to be able to view things in more detail. So you have a kind of skinny view, a standard view, just click on there, and you've also got an expanded view if you need to see things in a lot of detail, okay? But the default section is that middle view. And you've also got the standard 3 little dots that we're used to from Google, where you've got options behind here to mute tracks, hide levels and solo tracks and lock tracks even, as well as delete them altogether if you don't need them, okay? And the most important thing to remember is that they stack on top of each other. So audio is going to play, okay? And then video 1 is, if you like, your background, okay? That's your base layer. So if you're used to Photoshops and things like that, then base layer is video 1. And then video 2, whatever's in that track, would lay over the top of video 1. And you could equally add further tracks quite easily, either video or audio, just by clicking here and adding a track. And video 3 would go over the top of video 2, which would be over the top of video 1. So it would give you the option to be able to stack things. And that's really useful if you want to bring in things like text and picture in picture, which we'll look at in a moment, okay? So the first thing we might want to do, like Ben's shown us, we might want to go to our stock media, or indeed our media that we've already created, and we might want to just create an opening part. So I'm going to use our short and sweet uploads, and I'm going to just bring in here to video 1 the short and sweet logo, okay? And we can see, because we've got a timer here, that that's going to play for roughly about 5 seconds. Now we can expand the track down here with this little arrow, and it will make things a lot more easier to see because they're in smaller detail. So this is still playing for those 5 seconds, but it's broken things down and brought it into much finer detail for you. So if you want to pick a particular point, you just click and drag the blue line here, and you can, with your right or left arrows, advance sort of frame by frame really easily, okay? If you want to pick a point where maybe you might need to cut something. We'll come on to that in a second, okay? So first thing we've got then, we've got our welcome track in here, our logo, and I might want to add some audio to that. So I'm going to go to the audio section at the top here, and I've got free music, sound effects, and premium music. Now, I actually quite like the free music. I think it's really good and it's quite useful. So I'm going to just choose, you can click on any of these, as we know. And if we're happy with what we've got, we can just drag it in to the audio track, okay? Now, I might want to snip that to be exactly the right length, as in exactly the same length as the video itself. And because I've expanded this out, that then looks massive. So you can play around with this and shorten it up really easily. Then you just click the end and drag it along. Now I'd want the music to go a little bit longer than the video because I'd probably put a fade out on there, okay? But not too much longer. So I'm just going to shrink that down to around about here. So that's going to play from 5 to, that's going to play for about an extra sort of 20 seconds or so if we shrink that right down. By the look at that, here we go. So just open that up a little bit. So the video will finish, or the image will finish at 5, and then the music finishes at 5:07. Now what you can see on the audio track here is that there's a blue line, which is our audio level. Now we can adjust that here. So we can adjust how loud things are overall for the whole track using the slider here. Okay, we can even boost it to 500% if we need it to be louder. Okay, but what we can also do is click here and adjust by just dragging down any time we like. So we drag this one down to 56%. We can drag this one down to sort of 56% as well. Okay, and it's going to play at 56% volume. But what I really like about this is you can also create an extra pinpoint at any point along the line just by clicking, and then you can drag and create your own fade-ins and fade-outs, and they can be as steep or as gentle as you want them to be. You can go up and down in various parts. You can fade in if you want to, and then fade out again at the end. So you've got real control over your audio track. Okay, so if we play that now, we see that the music fades out at the end there. Okay, now if we wanted to, we can then add transitions to those particular aspects we've already got in here. So we've got lots of stock transitions, as we know, and we can dip to white, we can cross mosaic, we can dissolve, we can spin and flip and all sorts. Okay, so I might choose at the end of this to go with a horizontal spinning cube, but at the start I might want to fade in. Okay, and anywhere where those boxes go green, you're absolutely fine. Okay, so what we now get, now we've put a transition at the beginning and at the end, is this. And obviously you'd add transitions and further aspects to it afterwards. But if, for example, I wanted to add in another track just to give it a little bit more information, if you like, because we might be, like we're doing now, making a video about WeVideo, I might want to just put the WeVideo logo in there somewhere. So I'm just going to go into my stock media, bring the WeVideo into video 2. Okay, now that means that it's going to play over the top of short and sweet. Okay, and the reason I want it to do that is because I want it to appear over the white space. But what I also want is for it to be able to be a lot smaller than that. And the way I can adjust this is to double click on this text or on this image. Okay, so if I double click here, I get lots of options, and we'll go through these in a little bit more detail later. The first one I'm going to look at is this scale. Okay, I'm just going to bring that scale down, which obviously is going to make the image smaller. Okay, and I can also then decide whereabouts I want it to be, and if I want to, I can drag and click as well. So I've got quite a lot of control over that particular image. All right. So I'm going to add that on there now. So that's now saved. This is going over the top, and now we can see what it's going to look like when we play it. Okay, but I don't want it in there right from the start. So what I'm going to do is exactly the same as we did with the audio. We click on the line here, we can show levels, and this time it's green because it's an image, but we can do exactly the same thing. So we can choose a point, and we can choose to fade the image in, and then at the end fade it back out again. Okay, so that image is going to fade away. In fact, we might even want there just to snip that. So we put it in the right position, click on the scissors. That orange highlighted section is the one that would be deleted if we just press backspace or delete now. It's this one I want to get rid of, so I can just click on it and delete that out of the way. And we can see that I just need to slightly adjust that so that it disappears out for us. And let's play it again from the start. Okay, so now we're seeing how our different tracks work, and if we wanted to add an extra audio track, we can do that. As you can see here, you've got the option to import, but you can also narrate as well. So if we didn't like the information that was here, we could narrate over the top. So I might, for example, add another track. And this time I'm going to make it an audio. Okay, so audio 2 automatically comes underneath here. And I'm just going to record a quick voiceover here using the narrate button. And I'm just going to go very straightforward here. And welcome to this week's Short and Sweet. And that's all I'm going to do, just nice and simple, and I'm going to click tick on there. So it saves that to the platform. Oh, it's added it in there as a voiceover track. I forgot it did that. So I can do that if I want. So I'll leave it where it was. If I don't want that audio 2 track, I've got the bin there. I can just delete that. Now we've got this voiceover. Let's see how loud that is. Welcome to this week's Short and Sweet. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's quite loud. It's not too bad, but we might just want to drop that audio just slightly for that particular part. So we could, for example, drop it here and then have it raise again afterwards. Let's try again. Welcome to this week's Short and Sweet. Okay, so you can see how we can use those different tracks to be able to build quite a complicated video, putting all of those aspects together. So I'm going to hand over now to Ben, who's going to look at how you can add more aspects such as text and effects to your WeVideos.
Cheers, Darren. Thanks for that. So now back to me. We're going to look at the text and transitions options now. So let's just get straight on, shall we? So now, as you can see, I'm back in my My Media page where we left off. And now I'm going to click on the text icon here. Now the text icon will load up a range of different preset text settings that I can drop in above my existing videos, which I can chuck into this video 2 layer or track that we've got down here. And again, same thing applies. You can click on these to preview what they're like. So I can have a look at maybe, I don't like that one, but I'd like to see if this one will work for me. Grand opening, still not keen. I'm going to find another one. There you go. I really like that. So I'm going to use that one. So the same thing applies. You can just drag directly in. I'm going to put it on top of this layer. And the best thing about this is we can customize it. So it says there, shop now. If I click, put back on there, shop now, swipe up. I want to change that. So I'm just going to double click on my sort of text there. I have the option here to change what it says. So I'm just going to say subscribe to, should all be in capitals, I suppose, short and sweet. Change that quickly. There you go. Right, so you can see there, I've changed the text. Now also have the option of changing the colours. So by clicking the colour palette here, first 2 are your text colours, and this colour here is the box. So maybe I don't like the colour of that box, I'd like to change it. Maybe we'll go with a blue, say. Maybe that's a bit clashy, so we can change it to something else. And you have the option here of using the pinpoint to move around the colour, or you can put in your hex code if you know it as well. So lots of different options and ways you can do that. I'm just going to put orange on. There we go. That works for me. So once I've done that, I'm going to click Save Changes. Now I can position this over the top of this particular image if I want to, just by putting that on the second video layer or track. Okay. Now I've got other options here as well. So I've got, this is, we're in motions titles at the moment, or text, but we can also go into static, which are ones that just stay there and have no animation. So there's lots of different ones we can choose from there. We've got in-season ones, which are really good. These are updated regularly, and they give a real professional look to what's going on. So you can see here we've got graduating class of 2020, which I think might be a bit of a tough one this year, to be honest. But you can see that there's some titles here. We've got US Independence Day, so we can see that. There we go. And they look really tidy and neat. So I'd like to use one of these at the end of my video. So I'm going to use this graduating class of 2020 on. I'm going to personalize it. So I'm going to just drag that in and chuck that next to my beach here. And again, by double clicking, I have the option of changing my colours and also text. So I'm going to put in here now, I'm just going to put thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Now I've got the option to up the size or down the size of each one of these texts. I've also got the option to change colour. So maybe I'd like to change to a white background, but change my text to let's go the same orange we were a minute ago. There we go. All right. So we can see we've got lots of different things there. And also you can change the font of different text if you want to as well. And once you're done playing about with it and changing the settings, you can click Save Changes. Now, next thing we're going to go on to is looking at transitions. But I'm going to show you why transitions are important. So if I play this video now, you'll see it's a bit cut and chop between different scenes, just like this. So it might work if you've got some fast music in, which I'm sure Darren's going to show you how to input music as well, or how to add music to your track. You'll see things are a little bit choppy at the moment, I would have said. So transitions is a perfect way to smoothen that out. So let's click on the transitions page at the top here. Now we've got some standard ones or we've got some additional ones. So there's plenty in standard, as you can see, lots of different things we can use. And again, you can preview those by clicking them. So I'm going to click crossfade, and you'll see it fades between one image to another by changing the opacity levels. You can click cross blur. You might like that. You might like the burn effect, so it changes between two photos. You've got dip to a color, so dip to black or dip to white. So again, giving that professional feel to the video. And you've got some other, some real cool, funky ones down here. You've got rainbow, which is cool. You've got parasol as well. And then if we look on additional, there's some other quite cool ones as well. So let's look at falling grid, for example. So there's lots of different things we can use here. Now, I personally really like using the crossfade. I really think that looks quite smart. So I'm going to drag that in. Now, again, it's dragging. So I'm just going to click on it, drag down, and I'd like to fade between this video and the ending. So, or actually, no, let's do the text icon first. So I can just drop it wherever the green line appears. So drag it to the beginning or end of your particular content that's in there. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see I get this little box here now. By double clicking, again, I have options to change the duration, so I can make it longer or shorter if I want to. And I can also change my particular type of transition from here as well. So if you've put it in wrong, you don't need to delete it. You can just change it from here. Now, if you don't like it, again, click on it. You have the bin icon. Let's just have a look at what effect that has. So by clicking on that, we'll let it play through. Obviously, it's a little bit slow where it's trying to catch up with the content that's in there. Let's try it on this, between these two clips here. That might make it a bit easier to see. So we'll play between the forest here and wait for it to transition through to the beach there. And just smoothens it out, makes it look a bit more tidy. It works particularly well if you're doing it, if there's breakups between, say you're recording a lesson, you do one bit now before dinner, and then you have your dinner and come back and do the second bit. You're in a slightly different position, just ever so slightly. It's a good way of just smoothing it out. It doesn't look as rough, and from jumping from A to B, it smoothens that out, and I think that's really important. You can add as many of these to wherever you want, really. I'm just going to move that out, see if I can chuck a. There we go. I can transition between that as well. Sometimes you will have to move the clip out of the way just for it to work, but that's okay. It's no problem. But you can see here when I play that through now, it should all work. It's taking its time, so you can see the premise of how that works. So there's lots of different transitions and text options that you've got available to you, and it just tidies it up and makes it a bit more smooth, a bit more neat. Gives you that professional look to your video, which you're really ideally after. It makes you look a lot better than you are, even though you haven't really done a lot in terms of editing anyway. So good way to make yourself look good and look like you know what you're doing, when really, we're all struggling with it, aren't we? So back to you, Darren. I'll let you crack on with the last bit, and thanks for watching, guys.
That's part one of WeVideo. Join us next week for part 2, when we'll be playing around with green screens and looking at how you can have real fun with your WeVideos. As you can see, I've got some tidying up to do in the flat, so I'll catch you next time. Thanks, Ben.